from here.
Hi, nice to meet you all. Thank you so much for inviting me on this live. We do come at some of the same issues, just in really different ways. And I have a belief that we are all energy and that I create my own reality. And I know everyone may not join me in that belief, but that is what I believe. I believe that the world I'm living in today comes from my beliefs, my identity, my choices, and the energy and the vibrations that I put out into this world. And so when I approach money, it's been a journey for me. I grew up rather poor with divorced parents who had money struggles, and their money struggles still follow me into today. So um, I recognized loops, and I think we'll talk about loops a little bit today, but recognize patterns and recognize loops in energetic signatures in the decisions that I make and also in just the where I find myself in life. And so I believe that money, like everything else, is an energy, and we are able to manipulate change and work with that energy. It just isn't just simple math. It's a lot deeper than that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. So I have exactly like a question around this belief, right? So when you talk about the body holding the belief, I think, for example, when I tie this to my own story about the Gucci bag story I shared, that this one client came in, but it was really like one of so many. And it wasn't really about the Gucci bag at all. It was what happened inside of me when I saw it, because I was just grasping for air for such a long time. And I thought, okay, I'm this like really failure. Like I have this amazing studio and all of that. But, behind the curtains, this is actually like what's happening. So is so it was about what happened inside of me when I saw it, right? So is that the kind of moment where beliefs get reinforced? Is the body storing the event, or is it storing the meaning that we give to it?
Hmm. I do believe it's all about the meaning that we assign
Mm.
because we decide what our reality is. We have a lot of programming that we grew up with from our parents, from our churches, from our communities that program those beliefs in us. But ultimately, we get to decide what things mean for us. And that's been an interesting evolution for me as an adult, that I get to decide what I believe, what I want to take forward, what I believe about myself, and what's possible for me. And
Mm.
so, in one of the questions you asked me in the interview, you said, when did I first realize that my relationship with money wasn't actually about money? And I think I first realized that as an adult going through a divorce. So, I divorced my husband in 2020. And that was a decision that was a long time coming. But the thing that really was the holdup for me was scarcity. How will I raise four boys by
Mhm.
myself? How will I afford everything that I afford on two salaries? I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. And I got stuck in that loop for a long time until just one little idea. But what if? What if it's possible? What is possible for me? And just that small switch to not like, I have it all figured out. I know exactly what I'm going to do. But what if it is possible?
Mhm.
How how could that be possible for me?
Mhm.
And that belief that I just sat with, the little small seed that we planted, grew and grew and grew. And as that grew, I got promotions at work. I got two promotions at work that came with two pay raises. Um, Several things fell into place. I came into into some money, and it worked out. But I truly believe that it worked out because I believed that it would.
Mhm.
Instead of believing that I couldn't do it, I
Mhm.
just sat with the what if this is possible for me? And as that belief in me grew, and that beliefs come with aligned action. You can't just sit and hope for a better life and not do anything.
Yes.
Um, Small little steps after little steps that progressed pretty fast. We filed for divorce in May and it was complete in October. And I think that we can decide what's possible for us. And if we can think it, if we can believe it, then I believe that it already exists somewhere in some timeline in this universe for me. And I just have to match that resonance, and I have to match that frequency
Mm-hmm.
to get to wherever I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Previous to my divorce, I never also had anything to do with our money. I just worked. And I think if you're a healthcare worker, you know, like, I'll just pick up an extra shift. I'll work here. I worked weekends for 8 years, so my children didn't have to go to daycare. We didn't have to pay for that. I was the breadwinner in our family.
Wow.
And the belief then was, if we need more money, Danielle will figure it out. She's just going to work more. So working night shifts, working weekends, working. And that is also what I watched my parents do. And that has been a large unraveling. I'm still working on that. I just resigned from a second job in April that I had had for 2 years due to that same scarcity belief. I'm not going to have enough. I have to make sure that I have enough. Um, and so it's still a work in progress. But once I started managing my own money, I had to come face to face with my habits and face to face with my beliefs about money. And it gave me the opportunity where I never would have had it before to rewire all of those things.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you for sharing this. First of all, I think only your voice is also so calming already. And it's
Thank
just so nice to listen to you. But also, I applaud you really for your courage to leave a marriage with 4 kids, because I believe that's like one of the hardest things to do. And hi to all. I'm so happy that you're joining. Please keep watching, because we leave you also space for questions that you have, and we will definitely answer them. That's why we are here, okay? So, you know, I saw this with my parents, this paradox. I wished that my mom would have divorced my dad, who was unfortunately also like really abusive on top of that, way earlier. And she did not leave him because she was scared of scarcity. She did not leave him because of emotional abusive reasons. And that's always what happens with like victims. But it's the same trap. You want to leave something, but then you kind of like never feel ready for it until you really do. And you described it like really beautifully. Just it's not just the believing in it what gets you out of it, but really aligning. And I bet that it's so hard to describe, but you say it about the frequency. I felt it when I finally recognized, or when I reframed my moment, when I understood that this was not failure, it was just like simply living in uncertainty. And because I did all the steps, I invested also in a coaching course. Well, I couldn't really not invest in it, but I knew somehow it would pay off and all these things. And probably like that's a very similar way of like getting to something that you believe in it, with 4 kids getting all alone, all in into yourself, because you know that you raised your frequency. Is this right?
hmm And my life on the other side, my partner and one of her girls is on the live right now, and so my life on the other side of those choices is more
Mhm.
beautiful than I could ever imagine.
Mhm.
So 6 kids between the two of us, and we're doing life, and you don't know that when you're entering into the dark, and you enter into that void, and you're unable to see the beauty that's on the other side. So you have to have faith, and you have to have trust in the unseen, that
Yes.
you're going where you are supposed to go. And I love that you use the word failure, because I have been doing some rewiring around that word, and it is perfect for what we talked about. We give that word meaning. We give the word failure meaning. And I think that there are no failures in life at all. There's learnings, right? And we have to learn from the things that we go through, and we have to atone for the actions that we do. But I've really started to believe that failure actually just doesn't exist. We are
Mm-hmm.
here on this earth to learn and to grow, and for our soul to experience the things it needs to experience. And none of that can even be considered failure.
No, I totally agree with you. Even though when we go in these hard moments that you live too so much, right? When I was in survival mode, it's so hard not to feel this way, because then you start to see everybody around you being what way more successful than you are. And that's like one of the reasons
Mm-hmm.
why I'm still on Instagram, but I just dislike it, because
Mm-hmm.
most of it is just like fake, and it
Mm-hmm.
shows you lives that we all know they're like are not real. And when you are in a shit place and you really like don't know how to put food on the table for your family the next week, then you don't want to see fake lives, right? So you want to really go back to yourself, and that is just what you can do, is literally like getting away from all that bad energy
Mm-hmm.
and getting back to your inner voice that was there all along, was just like lost. And so let's talk about alignment a little bit, right? So you talk about frequency. How would you suggest to the people listening, right? What is a good way of getting back into alignment when you're completely out of it?
Hmm. I wrote notes on this on the next page. So
Thank you.
I have spent years doing this, and it probably will the rest of my life. I think it's a spiral that we all do.
Yeah.
Um, and my first piece of advice is to shut everything else out. Shut the noise out. You have to learn to sit with yourself, and that was really uncomfortable for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's uncomfortable for a lot of people. And you have to shine a light on your life. You have to sit. You have to look, and you have to acknowledge where you are. Here is where I am, and that's okay. I got here, and I am here, and I'm alive, and I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that we leave in the dark, the things that grow in the dark, grow and grow and grow. And
Mm-hmm.
they become so much bigger than they are in reality, or they need to be. They take up space in our hearts and our minds and our souls. They cause anxiety, they cause fear.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole purpose of my entire platform, You Are the Oracle, is to remind you that everything you will ever need, you already have inside yourself. I think that we were born into community for a reason. We need other people, and other people help us grow. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, for your soul journey, you have everything that you need inside of you to get to where you want to go. But you have to find it, and you have to believe it. And I don't think you can find that place until you're quiet and you sit with your soul, sit with yourself, and acknowledge where you are. And for some people, including me, acknowledging where you are is hard.
It's
To
so hard.
look at it and look it in the face
Yeah.
is hard. And I think something I thought about when you asked me this question was, whenever we see change in society or with people, with groups, that change comes from a place of love. You can never shame yourself into change. You can never guilt yourself into change. Those are
No.
really low vibration emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to come to be still, just have a level of acceptance with where you are. And some people live in that acceptance for a long time before they're able to move forward with positive motion to change their situation. Um, and you have to love yourself. We're humans. We're all perfectly imperfect people. Like I said, there's no failures. We make mistakes, but you have to pick yourself up. You have to learn, and you have to move forward. And I think that's what I would say, is to learn to sit with yourself, learn to look at yourself, and that's hard. Learn
Mm-hmm.
to accept yourself. Acceptance moves into love and grace and peace. And then from that place, you're able to start to think, where might I want to go? What do I want to do? And you can't, when you're in survival mode, all you can think about is how to get out of the situation that you want to get in. And that's
Exactly.
a loop. Once I get out, how many situations have I got out of, whoop, just to boom right back into, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't learn my lesson and I didn't heal what needed to be healed to get out of that loop.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can sit long enough with yourself and invite enough peace and love and work with spirit in your life, you can start to think, what might be possible for me? And that is what happened with my divorce. Like, I went from, oh, where am I? What's happening? How is this my life? Like, how did I end up here?
Mm-hmm.
To, this is where I am. Okay. Like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I sat with that for a while. To, what else might be possible for me? And it's not going to happen overnight. And I think we want instantaneous
The
relief.
miracle, of
Yeah,
course.
we want instantaneous relief from the things that hurt us and that bother us in the situations we put ourselves in.
Yeah.
And I wanted someone to come save me for a long time.
Mm,
And I don't need anyone to save me because I have everything that I need to get to where I want to go. Um,
yeah.
but there are a lot of blocks for people, for them to even start to imagine what wonderful things they might want.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for describing this really like so beautiful. I really, it's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's just having this beautiful open conversation. And um, you know, when I had this experience too, it's really what you just said. It's not about fixing or climbing up the whole mountain. It's literally like taking it one step at a time. And I think that's so hard for so many of us because when we are in there, we really want to get out of it as soon as possible.
Hmm.
And there's like the strength, each of us has different strengths. And when you start to really also understand them, there are so many websites out there where you can do free tests and you understand more about yourself. In that moment, I wrote this also in the article, like if you are like a lover of beauty, go to an art gallery, like
Hmm.
really do something that you normally would never do. But like there are so many things that we can think about, the next little step that we can do. And everybody who's listening here, who's like really saying so many nice things, highest vibration is love, and amen, and regroup, and yes, strongly agree. So you guys, you can start to drop your questions in, okay, that you have. And I really invite you, and I think I talk for the both of us here, is to really see the next best thing that is available to you.
I think that God gives us our unique blueprints. Like we come into this world kind of wired, and you see all things to solidify that, human design and astrology and all sorts of things that can show like we come in as humans wired to a certain way. We
Mm-hmm.
also come in with things that we love, things that we, like you said, things that we find beautiful, things that we find interesting, hobbies that we want, habits that we want. And all of those things are breadcrumbs. Okay. Those are breadcrumbs to your highest self.
Mm-hmm.
When they say like follow your joy, follow your passions, that's a reality. And you're not always able to do that when you're in crisis mode. But following those little breadcrumbs about those things that interest you
Yeah.
lead you to your highest destination. They lead you to your dharma. They lead you to your soul purpose. And as
Mm-hmm.
those things develop, they don't develop overnight. If I had everything that I've ever wanted dropped in my lap today, I probably wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah.
You have to grow into that. There are lessons in the pain and there are lessons in the muck and lessons that we have to go through, and those lessons take time.
Mm-hmm.
They take time. This life is a journey. This life is an evolution. Um, we aren't meant to just figure it out in the snap. We're on a journey of growth
Yes.
together. It takes probably multiple lifetimes. It takes time.
And as you said, it's not such a thing as failure. So maybe this helps here for an unbound resonance. Thank you for being here. Right. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is accept we are allowed to stop punishing ourselves for mistakes we easily forgive others for. Yes, we are the biggest judge of our own selves. And it's so easy to give others advice, but you guys are sitting here today with two women who really went to some of the hardest moments of their lives with money. Okay, so I think how you said it, with really finding love. And I know that is really hard in the moments when you feel that you just want to cry and you want to sit in your bed and you don't want to get out. So when this happen, feel also the emotions, be in them, right? But then also find the little things that bring you a little bit of hope, a little bit of glimmer, a little bit of joy. And slowly that will nurture. It's like filling up a cup with water, like each day a little bit more, so the plant can grow. think that would be like my answer to this. Do you have do how would you like to answer to this?
I think that we have to climb the ladder of belief in our life.
Yeah.
And so when you're at a really low place financially, that's scary. That's really scary. If you don't know you're going to pay your bills, or you have children that rely on you, you don't have your basic needs met. You can't climb that ladder of belief until those things are somewhat solidified and taken care of.
Mm,
Once your basic needs are met, then you're able to climb that ladder of belief. And that's just what you said. Okay, I'm here. I don't want to be here anymore. Where do I want to go? I don't know how to get there.
yeah.
Okay. Well, one step after one step after one step without sabotaging yourself. And we sabotage ourselves frequently when our nervous system doesn't feel safe to expand. And that was a question that you asked me I wanted to touch on, because when our nervous systems do not feel safe to expand, we end up continually in those loops that I talked about. Our nervous system job is to keep us safe. And safe does not mean healthy. Safe does not mean happy. Safe does not mean
Mm,
wealthy. Safe means what is my body used to and what feels safe. So if you have lived your whole life where you spend every dime you have money and it's gone, um, that's where your nervous system feels safe. So if you come into money, you'll spend it all, or you'll have a bill come out of nowhere that needs to be paid. Your
mm,
nervous system is going to always bring you back to that level of safety. And
mhm.
to expand your nervous system takes time. You can't overwhelm yourself and do that all at once. It takes little exposures, rewiring one belief at a time,
Yeah.
stepping out in aligned action for your nervous system to expand, for you to get to that next rung on that ladder. And then you have to be there for a while. We all have a ceiling to where our bodies and our souls feel safe and feel comfortable. And that's, in order to break through that ceiling, takes intention and it takes time. And you really it's something that you have to work on. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
It takes intention and it takes time. And you know what I learned? Something super important is that on a letter, to answer also in the meanwhile, like another question that came in, it was, do you ever drop back down a ladder and have a bad time? What do you do if you reach the top? Do you ever? Yes, of course, right? Like nothing is just up and nothing is like from now, oh, you have like the recipe of like how to get out of there. You don't. What you do is having that little step, but sometimes like every grow, right, doesn't happen 100% upwards. It happens ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs, but then all of a sudden you are higher than you were. So when I look back about my own story 2 years ago, I was really in such a dark place. And where I am today is still never at the top. I think the top is something that maybe we reach, maybe we don't. But it's just accepting for where we are right now and understanding that, ooh, I'm like a lot better off. And what got me there? I think this is how I would answer this. But Danielle, would you mind to answer this? But also here, Yvette asks, what if you have a partner money story? Is safe because he came from scarcity. Also, the partner is abundant. How do you help them besides prayer and grateful?
I think that every relationship that we have in our life is a mirror. It is a mirror to things that are not healed in us. And you ultimately only have control over yourself. And I'm a nurse, so let me tell you, I want to save everybody. Okay, we can't fix people, we can't change them, we can't save them. But what you can do is set the example. So if you have a partner that has a scarcity belief, and you show them, I'm rewiring my mindset and more money's coming to me. Like I am grateful and I'm thankful and I'm abundant. And these are the things that are coming to me. Um, you are in love and you are in joy and you are in peace. That example that you set doing that shows them everything that they need. If they still choose to not break through that loop, that maybe that's their karma, that's their soul's choice. And you
Mm-hmm.
can't allow that to bring you back down. You have to continue to live in your highest iteration, your highest version, and hope that the example that you set shows other people what's possible for them. And I think that's what's so important about people who say that they are a light worker, right? Your job is to shine a light on what is possible for people. Your job isn't to shine a light to save them. You are showing people what's possible for them, what they can accomplish themselves, what they can do with the power of their mind and the power of their heart, what we can do collectively
Mm-hmm.
together. Your job is just to set that example. And so,
Mm-hmm. I
um,
think you're touching on such an important point here, Danielle. I think it's like setting also healthy boundaries that way, right? Because
yes, it protects you.
it's a lot in our female nature to nurture. I mean, it's biology. And as you just like rightfully say, we want to save, but it's okay to be the light worker and to really set healthy boundaries. And the moment you do that, things really start to change. And you posted a really nice quote that I respect. It was be the change. What was it again? It was so nice. It was be the
Be the
change.
change you want to see in the world. Mhm.
Yes, yes, but it was like it was a sentence not only, but well, okay. Yeah, something
Mhm.
similar along that way,
Mhm.
okay? And exactly that is something that, we hear all these sentences and love and abundance and all of this is all really great. But I think what is so important before we get there, because I think a lot of people here, right, are like in this moment where we do the meditation. I did so many meditations when I was feeling in a spiral and not good. And they did help me, but they also did not help me. And I had to figure out what was helping me because everyone is different, right? So for some people, some meditation work miracle. For some people, breath work works better. For some people, reading a book or writing is better. So, you know, thank you so much, Galactic Writer. Thank you for joining us. And so, for that reason, I invite you all to find what really works for you because we are on very one side, Danielle and I, like we really think this together that toxic positivity is something that we both don't want to put out there. In fact, like it goes just like into the deeper layers of our soul, if you want to name it that way, that will help you to discover parts of you that maybe you did not know they were there because they were obscured by all the stresses around you. And I think that's just important to put in, and yeah, and to help people more to get out of like really hard moments of their life. And since this is a conversation about money and survival, right? What was your breakthrough moment? Was it for you the divorce? Was it for you like when did the moment arrive, for example, after the divorce where you knew, wow, like I'm onto something, like I'm better off than I thought I was. I'm rewriting the history of my parents.
I think that I just continue to have those awarenesses, and each awareness brings me to a different level where there's more to uncover.
Mm-hmm.
Life is a journey, it's not a destination. And so, all I think, like a lot of people, the first awareness I had came out of just disaster. So, probably a rock bottom ish where I had gotten myself into a financial position that was really hard for me to swallow, and it was
Mm-hmm.
difficult for me to get out of. I still am actually working my way out of it. And so it came at a point of really out of fear and out of scarcity and out of a, okay, I've had enough of myself. I don't want to live this way anymore. There has to be something different.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that is separate from my divorce, but I ended up in the same place, if you can see that loop. Like, I'm here. How did I get here? Number one, why does my life look like this? I never thought it would. That's hard to swallow. I'm not as far as along as my friends or as I thought I should be. Like, why don't I have all this money like the people that I hang out with? Um, and then how did I get in this much debt? How did this even happen? Because it
Mm-hmm.
happens somewhat unconsciously, I think, at times. And
Mm-hmm.
then I don't want to be here anymore. I don't know how to get out of it. And it's that ladder again, the same thing. And I have those awarenesses in lots of areas of my life. But with money, I continue to have those awarenesses, but they are on a deeper and a deeper and a more spiritual level. So it isn't a like, okay, let me refinance this so I can fix this problem. Now it's a what is internally, what internally, what belief needs rewired in me so
Mhm.
I don't end up here again. You know,
Mhm.
what version of me allowed this to happen? And I think that we all have different versions
Mhm.
of ourselves, especially around money, that we learned before we even knew what money was and what money meant. And I believe that all of those different versions of ourselves were there to protect us at one point.
Yeah.
Even though it's a maladaptive behavior right now, that maladaptive behavior came out of some sort of protection. And so I try to love those parts of me and accept those parts of me and realize that while it's no longer serving me and where I want to go, it protected me at one point in my life. And it comes now not to just financial knowledge, but
Mhm.
a rewiring of my subconscious to know that there's more available for me.
Mm.
And I think that is the awareness that I continue to have on a deeper and deeper level as this journey of life progresses.
Mhm. Mhm. So what I'm hearing over and over again is literally like the word awareness and like being conscious about, right? And I think this is also if I mirror you also back to our audience today, is what we can all take with us is that the awareness that we don't have to write the same stories as our parents or our childhood was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it served for a greater good because I'm telling these stories today, hoping that this will serve and help a lot of people, and so do you. And I think that's just incredibly amazing already to do that. So turning that into story of courage and hope, because the world is shifting. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but it's shifting a lot, and so many places and jobs are getting lost because of AI, and people really don't know what direction they're going often in these times. And I've coached so many people literally like with burnouts while I was having burnout, which was quite an interesting journey. But what I want to really give us a hope and courage is that no matter where you are, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, even if sometimes the tunnel is longer than you expected. But you can find it. You can climb up the ladder, like Danielle said. And that's really my word of courage for you guys. Danielle, is there something that you would like to share that is really on your heart that you didn't share yet so far?
I was thinking just today about how many decisions I've made in my life and how many decisions people make in their lives in order to have security.
Mm.
Okay. And I just wanted to touch on what security is and and we're talking about true security. Do we have security in this life and what is it? So when I say I have security because I have a job, I had a job for 20 years. I'm
Beautiful.
successful at my job. Okay, well, my job could be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do I make decisions to stay here because I say this is security? My health insurance is through here. My retirement is through here. So I feel secure, but that's a false sense of security. And like
Mm.
you said, the world's changing. Things are shifting. So I would encourage everyone just to think about what does security, especially financial security, what does that mean to you? And when you peel back the layers in your life, are the things that you've bet on and the things that you find security in, is that true security or is that false security? I think that allows your awareness just to open up financially about maybe where you want to go. So I would love to build something that is mine and work towards my dream and my goal and have security in myself. And I have had such a good career, and it isn't over, but is that actually security? Is having money in the bank security? I don't know. Um,
It can disappear
it can
tomorrow.
disappear at any time.
And
So if
as I live from my own experience, I had to give up a studio. So for the first time ever, I will be from an entrepreneur and employer now in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, like what is security? That's a great question. Yeah.
So if you're making decisions from fear and scarcity because you think it's keeping you in security, you think that the decisions you make are making, even if they aren't aligned or keeping you secure, spend some time with yourself and peel that back and decide what is actually security to you. And if the things that you are calling security were gone tomorrow, what would
Mm.
that mean about you and about your life? And I think those are really important tidbits to think about if you're wanting to expand your, wealth consciousness for sure.
So much, because what you just said is really raising your self-worth, and when you feel your self-worth more, you're raising the frequency, and therefore like more good things will come to you. And guys, there are so many like gurus, whatever you want to call them, out there who say you can manifest 10,000K in like one night. Please, that's not what we're saying at all. Okay, we're really like peeling off the onion one step at a time. Okay, and really go deep into yourself and understand step by step your self-worth again. And we have a beautiful question too, actually. So by Unbound Resonance, how do you allow yourself to spend on yourself just because you need it, instead of only allowing if it is something that also benefits your loved ones? This is a shift I desperately need to make around money.
I think you need to ask yourself where that belief that you can't spend money on yourself in the first place came from.
Yeah.
When did that start? Where were you in your life? How old were you? What was the scenario where you felt guilty spending money on yourself? Peel it back to the why. Why do you feel that way? It's going to take some deep conditioning on your part to buy things for yourself that you want simply because you want them, and for you to sit with that and be okay. But I have had success in rewiring beliefs like that when I try to take it all the way back to the root. And sometimes your subconscious doesn't even know. Sometimes we have beliefs that we can't pull back where they came from. But I do think that it is worth spending some time about why you felt like that in the first place. Did someone make you feel that way? We aren't born feeling guilty about giving ourselves what we need. Like when we're born, we ask for everything that we need, get what we need, express our needs until someone around us makes us feel like we can't. So peel that one back and see where it came from. Rewrite a belief that you want. How do you want to feel? I am worthy and I'm worthy of spending my money on. I love myself and I feel comfortable purchasing things for myself. And those where affirmations come in when you are trying to rewire and rewrite those beliefs. And it takes some aligned action too, to expanding your nervous system to feel comfortable doing it. But that would be my suggestion.
Yes, and those beliefs, they mostly of the time they really come from our childhood, our poor
It
parents.
is.
But
It's a worthiness. It all comes down to, am I worthy? And so, the actions that you see today, the decisions that we make today usually come from just a few core wounds. And worthiness is a one that shows up a lot. And so, where in your life did someone teach you or make you feel that you weren't worthy of caring for yourself or you weren't worthy of joy or happiness?
what's interesting, Danielle, like we are like a little younger, but our parents, or like I talk about my mom because she's the boomer generation, and they were raised in this: you have to work hard, and only if you work hard, then you're allowed to maybe have your holiday. And so I grew up with that kind of like, if I don't work hard enough, I'm not worth to like also rest. Right? And exactly about resonance. That's like the way my mom treated herself. Yes. So unconsciously, we copy a lot of that behavior until you can break it, because putting the consciousness into it is then, yeah, really just beautiful. Described and answered that. That's really starting to get out of that. And here was quick question: how do you come up with your ideas? Do you picture it in scenarios? That's such a beautiful question.
I, Victoria, I have a very vivid imagination. And so I do. And I know not everyone is like that, but I am able to live a scenario in my mind before I live it in real life. And so I come up with a lot of creative ideas that way, but I also rewire my consciousness that way because
Mm.
it's a safe way to run through a scenario that feels uncomfortable for me, but I do it in my mind. And I can do it several times, so much so to the fact that when the actual event happens, I'm deconditioned to it. Because if you guys have read any science out there about the way the brain works, you don't actually physically have to be doing something. You can create that in your mind. If people play the piano in their mind, the parts of their brain that light up when they actually play the piano light up when they are in their visualization and they're in their imagination. So use that to your benefit. Um,
Our
yeah,
brain can literally tell the difference
it
between
can't.
what it lived and what is yet to come. Olympic skiers do this really to look. They even like, this is interesting, maybe also for you listening, guys. They even vision themselves falling and what happens if they fall down and how fast they can come up again. So really it's so powerful if you envision even like not easy things like you do this, Danielle, to get to things. Because also it takes a little bit of fear away. Because we always have this big fear that's always bigger in our mind, and then reality hits. Because my biggest fear was to lose my main income, and then it happened. And then I understood actually this was all made up in my head way more, and my worth was attached to having that material place because I did not know how to make money different ways, but actually like it did. And you
Mhm.
can. So you will always find ways, like you did find your way out of your marriage and were able to provide for your kids, right? There's always a way, even though some moments are really, really hard.
Mhm.
So we have to wrap it up. We have maybe time for like one last question if you just fire it quickly in. Otherwise, Danielle, what would be your parting words for today?
Remember that you have everything you need inside of you to go anywhere you want to go. We look outside of us a lot for what has worked for other people. What did other people do? I'm going to copy that. Um, you know, a lot of get rich quick stuff all over the internet. And I'm not discounting it because it happens and it can. Um, but if you learned anything from this, is to sit with yourself, go inside, look at your finances now. Are you where you want to be? If not, open your consciousness to where you want to go.
Mm.
Your job isn't the how. Your job is not the how. Your job is to decide where you want to go. And you bring spirit in. Okay, God, I decided like this is where I want to go. Help me get there. You don't worry about the when and you don't worry about the how. And then you follow the breadcrumbs little bit by little bit, healing after healing, aligned action after aligned action, till you match the frequency of your desired goal. And there you are. And you have the ability to be in any financial state that you want if you just work on it.
That is so beautiful. So, so beautiful. Thank you so much, Danielle. Really, I'm so grateful that you joined the conversation today. And I think that our audience was able to get so great, hopefully, like hope out of this conversation. And if you want to follow, subscribe, she's You're the Oracle, and she has wonderful articles and tools that will help you to go further into this. I can only recommend her. And I'm super, super thankful for everybody who showed up today. And this is exactly it. It makes us feel less alone. And if you feel less alone, there's already something that makes you feel better already, right? And so I'm thankful. And thank you also for everybody who was so brave and shared their story and put also questions into it, because it always takes vulnerability. So we never take this for granted. And thank you for being here, and up to the next Today's Unfiltered. Thank you.